Zegamis bumped out of the way and everything. Sick to Death just doing his best to keep the control inside that corner. As the Kestrels side off the backboard, they will go, leaving it open for Eclipse. He shoots off the crossbar. Follow-up will come through, or at least try to come through from Zadov, but not going to happen. It will get cleared away by the Nighthawks side. And as we approach halftime, I think this is the first time we've seen these two teams be 0-0 towards the 2-minute 30 marker here, Bacon. It certainly has been either a one-sided affair or a back-and-forth high-goal game. The Eclipse sets up his team. Unfortunately, they are caught in rotation on the rotation back over to the defensive. And Nighthawks trying their best to punish, but again, they're plagued with the same old issues. Inaccuracy and little jumbled up players that get beaten out by the Kestrels defensive. And again, that's left this whole situation scoreless as we go ping-pong for the moment here, Bacon.
That is it. It's not necessarily normal ping-pong style. It's just everyone's too threatened. They're not actively looking for the net. And it's resulting in a game style that doesn't have a finisher. It does not have a way to actually seal the deal.
Oh.
Pinch. From that angle, not possible, but you can still see that Nighthawks have better pressure right now.
I legitimately thought that was on target. This one certainly is from Zegamis. And Sick to Death, trying to see if he can receive it. Zegamis, good P off to the net, but
you don't get goal from that, though. It's easy to defend. You want to try and pull out those defenders and not leave them straight there between you and net.
Zorti and Zegamis up, good plays up. Eclipse getting beaten out. Second touch has to come through from the Nighthawks side, and they just don't have the boost to continue that play towards that net. They're forced back over to their own half. 1:10. Zegamis challenging Zadov. Zorti's going to try and back him up here as he tries to get bumped out of the way. Big miss coming through. That ball's not been touched for a good 3 seconds or so. Sick to Death will be able to challenge on the 62nd marker. Zorti tried to move in against the likes of Zadov. Zegamis here for the shot, and that is way too high. The Kestrels defender just failing in the back line.
Yeah, so this is the problem here. Hitting the ball into the wall just sets it up for Zegamis. You've got to be careful. In those cases, you want to keep it low to the ground so that you can run onto it and keep it under your control. Where he hit into the wall, it was a hit and hope. He was hoping a teammate could get onto it. It's not communicated and clearly not picked up. That's a quick return as well. Unfortunately, not going to be able to seal it.
40 seconds on the clock. The Kestrels have got to strike back, and they're just not going to get any opportunity to do so. Sick to Death will score another one on the Nighthawks side. 2-0. The Kestrels.
I don't know, 40 seconds, it's still within the realm of possibility here, Jay. We'll just see if the Kestrels are able to pull it off.
It's going to be tough. Say that for free. Zorti will leave it for the Kestrels side as they go back up and over. Eclipse shot. Ooh, just blocked away by Zorti, but you can see him caught in the rotation. He just about adjusted for it. And the Kestrels will continue to push further forward. Zegamis over to the backboard here. Kragavon Kestrels continue to get suppressed. Zadov here into that corner, followed up by, I believe that is Blue Flare. Zegamis on the defense, shut up. Good set up here towards the backboard, but cleared away eventually by the Nighthawks. So therefore, it seems like we should be in for a 2-2 series. Indeed, that time will hit 0, and the Kestrels will try and deny the third goal coming in for the Nighthawks. But the bottom line is still going to be that game is over as we go to evens in the series in Game 4.
Yeah, the calmest game out of all of them as well here, Jay. And looking at this right now, like, where do we go? For me, it feels like Kestrels have really dropped off. They're not able to work as a unit. They've not got that synergy they had in the first two games, do they?
Yeah. I want to say the same thing, actually. I feel like that, in the last game it was very clear evidence that actually they did have the synergy there. But in this one, I feel like they were just kind of very all over the place. It
was a lot of panic and no real cohesion at all.
Yeah, again, it was all over the place, I think, is the right way to sum it up. I mean, again, that's not a good sign for the Kestrels. Obviously, that last game was not a good sign for obvious reasons, just because obviously it was the first one that the Nighthawks were able to win. And especially with the heartbreak as well. I feel like that last second counter-attack that went wrong for the Kestrels actually may have potentially hindered their morale to a certain extent, because it was only after that point that we started to see them looking like a bit of a mess.
Yeah, and going into the next game, you got to see, will Kestrels be able to pick themselves up, or is this now just going to be the Nighthawks being able to run away with it? Are Kestrels actually hindered? Have someone clipped their wings, Or is it just going to be go away, use this break, which they've got now, and just try and rejuvenate themselves, refresh themselves, and come into Game 5 looking pretty hot.
Ball up here to kick things off on the Nighthawks side. Sick to death. Zegamish trying to outfake the Kestrels defensive, but the blue flare is not going to be so easily misconstrued. It's Zorti. But not over. Sick to death bouncing out from that corner as the Kragavon side try to get the early pressure set up here in that purple half. It is returned so easily, however, by the Nighthawks team. Eclipse here to support the quick clear coming through. Zegamish with a great pinch. I mean, he's had a couple of good pinches so far in the series alone. It's a shame they're not quite Cookseer pinches that allow it to go straight towards the orange there. If that was the case, the Nighthawks might be on for a couple more goals really at the moment. It stands though in the early minute and a half of this game. It's not going to be any goals coming in from either the Nighthawks or the Kestrels side as this goes back and forth in ping pong style. A bit more typical this time, I want to say.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
That's a yikes for me.
Forget typical. That was certainly anything but typical coming in from Zorti. Wow.
Defender not able to quickly react in time. And Zorti, just the boldness to go in and challenge in that corner. Blimey.
Yeah, Blimey's right. And the Kestrels again.
Good idea to flick that out. Didn't quite connect, but good idea.
Suffering in the scoreline here. Only a 1-0 scoreboard here for the Nighthawks side as Blue Flare tries to change that. Great dribble up. Here we go. Oh, that's right there! And the follow-up is perfectly placed from Eclipse. It's back to evens for the Kestrels.
Great little set there. You could see he was going wide of goal, but the follow-up is what is so important coming in there from Eclipse, making sure to seal the deal. 1-1. Hopefully that's enough to give Kestrels the energy they need to come back into this series.
Sick to death. Oh, just challenged at the midfield. They might have allowed that breakaway from the Kestrel side to the backboard. It will get cleared out by Zegamish on rotation, but two defenders caught on the left-hand side of that net. Good play from Zegamish to use his opponent as the rebound, trying to get midfield control, but look as it off the backboard. The second touch will not be allowed. Nighthawks doing everything they can to deny the Kestrels at this stage. Ball inside that box. Zegamish will take it over to Sick to Death, try and follow through against the next Kestrels player, but he can only go so far as the challenge. He's got no more backup. Zadov will leave it. Good booming shot is going to be too far wide, so Kestrels will again not be allowed their chance to score. At the halftime marker, it's still all evened out though, so not a massive amount of pressure to score any goals from either side at the moment.
The thing is though, that this ball's been down in the Nighthawks half for so long right now. They're going to be starting to feel that wear, the lack of boost. These attempts, though, they just cannot hit the mark, can they, Kestrels?
Sick to Death, might be able to find a breakaway at this stage. And the Kestrels unable to hit the target itself. Able to find it. Oh, okay. As I was going to say, Zadov with a bit of an awkward recovery. I didn't think he'd be able to get a good enough shot in that one. It was just about saved by the Nighthawks side. Now Blue Flare is going to be in the defensive line. Two players already inside that net. It's Zadov that will come out. Challenged again by Zegamish, trying to get it past the last line of defense. He will get close, but no cigar. The challenges again, clears all coming through from Blue Flare. Easy enough. Eclipse also picking up 100 as Zadov continues the offensive. 21 points of boost though. He's going to have to rely on his teammates to come forward and support, and they're going to use a lot of boost to get up to this ball. Zegamish will clear it out the way, and Eclipse has midfield control. That's another set-up shot. You talked about it. You complained about it earlier. You made it as a feedback point, and the Kestrels almost gave up the ghost because of it.
Again, don't just hit into the wall to knock out for a teammate. If you don't know, they're not there. Like, oh, that worries me.
Well, the Kestrels still finding some booming clears, so they can remove the worry from your mind. It might aid them a little bit more, but 60 seconds to do so. That is another awkward touch that again leaves that ball in a dangerous position. They're running out of boost as well, when it can see Zegamish setting it up. That bump is perfect. Sick to Death takes the credit, but the Nighthawks working as a team for the second.
Yeah, this all comes down to Zorti. Brilliant little bit of insight to remove the player and just leave it, like I said, as an open net. Great play coming out from the Nighthawks.
And 40 seconds to their victory to take control of the series as well. Sick to Death and Zorti trying to play around this ball here inside that corner. As Eclipse looks to the boom back over, pass up to a teammate and trying to out-fake it. In the end, it is counted as a shot, but Zegamis also counts up a save to his tally. It's now Zadov here with 12 points of boost. No 100 in the midfield he can pick up. Tries to dribble it past one, but two more are able to rotate into position. A pinch back coming through from Zort. He leaves that ball in very dangerous positions, and the Kragovan Kestrels just can't get control. 10 seconds left. It's Zorti out to the midfield. Sick to death, caught in rotation. Bumps one teammate out of the way. That could be punishable. Zadov off the backboard. Chance available, but in the end it goes way too far out. They try and keep control, but the clear will come through from the Nighthawks, and the Kestrels will look to suffer defeat at this stage unless they can find a quick breakaway. No. Out to open space. Bounce out from the corner once again, and the Nighthawks have done it at this stage. 2-0 to 3-2 up now. This is big stuff coming in from the purple side.
It is indeed, but the problem for me is that you can see the same problems are there from Kestrels. They're not fixing their mistakes. Instead, they're just trying to pick up the pace, which was better. They got a lot of good pressure in that game. But again, you notice, like we said, in defense, that hit into the wall. Why go for that? They were seeing a lot of double commits in defense as well come out from Kestrels. And then there's still that lack of decisive action to really sink that ball. It's just a lot of hit towards the backboard, but then keep hitting it to the backboard instead of finally being able to decide to sink it. So it's going to be an awkward case going forward. But like you said, Nighthawks now onto match point. That's got to be a scary time for Kestrels.
Oh yeah, like that's just considering how confident they started as well.
Scientific
it's just like,
term there, yeah.
Again, it's the best way you can describe it, especially if you're in that situation. It's like, what else do you do? Like, you've come from being so confident in 2 games to not so confident, well, you know, challenged in the 3rd game and then not so confident for 2 more after the fact. And again, they've lost the lead in this series. For the Nighthawks, this could be their chance to pull it out of the hat in this one. The Kestrels were the favourites coming into this series. The Nighthawks are looking for a chance at glory, looking to go to the semi-finals. It's Zorti up sick to death, looking for control above the Kestrels side. Eclipse will move up and try and find a counter-attack. 2 players on the right-hand side there to support him. Zadov will put it to the centre line, but it should get cleared. A very slow ball for sick to death. Into the corner, it gets played out. Follow up again coming through from the Kragovan side as Blue Flares beaten out by Zorti, challenging here with control into that backboard. It will get taken away by the Kestrel side. And the Norfolk Nighthawks, they have a little bit of pressure, a little bit of attack. A chance available for Zegamis? No, it's going to be too high.
For me right now, the Kestrels, they need to try and keep this ball a bit lower to ground, try and pull out those dribbles and those closer passing plays. Space is hurting them, Jay, and especially when that ball is up in the air, it slows the play down, and that's where Nighthawks really come into it.
Kestrels looking for Zadov to take this shot in. It's a clear away. Sick to death. Can't quite reach that ball in time. Zegamis though. Backboard play, second touch, and Zorti's nowhere to be seen. There's a breakaway coming through from the Kestrels side, and they're well out of position for this one. The Nighthawks not getting out in time, and in the end it will be Blue Flares to add another to his tally in this series. The first scored by the Kestrels.
Yeah, Zorti overthought the situation there. You can't blame him. Like I said, he had 3 players coming in on him. It was going to be a goal. If it not, Zorti would have been a god. But unfortunately, he's a mere mortal like you and me.
Immortality might be the goal of the game here at the moment here. Kestrels. Ooh,
Close.
Close, but again, way too far wide. You can't see the strike directly from the left to the right-hand side unless you get really, really tough positioning and control. Off double commit there coming in from Zegamis and Zorti, and that's concerning. Again, you know, you've got to be very worried about the defensive that when it does that, you know, even though some players tend to see it as no worries if you can get the clear out of the way, if that was a bit of a whiff from both, then that would have looked like a very disastrous situation for the Nighthawks side. The Kestrels, however, what?
Boost over ball. So Eclipse needed a break off to get boost, and then, yeah, you saw the man in the back line jumping across because it went in a corner where he'd ran to, and yeah, just took his eye off the ball, and I'm not a happy bacon on that one.
Oh dear. It sucks because like it's not even like the Kestrels, like, you know, had a tough defensive to hold up against the Nighthawks' tough offensive. No, it was just a straight up big open net with one good challenge that left them in this situation. And we're back to 1-1. As here we go for the Kestrels side. Kragovan doing their best to get some representation in the semi-finals. They look so confident going into the start of the series, and unfortunately it's all crumbling around them, much like it did for the Kingston Harriers earlier today. And Zegamis, just saved by Blue Flare. It was right there, being engulfed by the goal line. Sick to Death gets 100 boost to try and challenge it. Will get returned over the Nighthawks side, but no further responses and follow-ups coming in from the Kestrels team. 2 minutes to go and it's all even up, and right now the Nighthawks are outplaying every position from the Kestrels.
Yeah, and for me this is because the Kestrels aren't pressuring them enough. You'll notice they got the ball down their opponent's end, but where was the force? Where was the ability to really cause mistakes? Nighthawks were given time to work that ball out like they are now. The Kestrels need to close them down.
Clips. Press back into his own half. His teammates directly inside the net. The Kestrels will need to find a breakaway. Here we go. This is the chance. Demo's coming through from 2 players though. Zegamis takes out the offensive force, and for the Kestrels, that's going to leave them back in their own half. A couple good clears coming through, and actually that's the one on target. Zorti able to take it away, but not for long, as Adolf is able to regain the lead for the Kestrels. 2-1 on the board. The Nighthawks now have to fight once again.
They do indeed. Zadov, like you said, pulling us closer to that game 7. I don't think we've seen a series go the whole way this season on stream, Jay. It would be crazy to do it now, especially with being a best of 7.
Oof. Just pushed out by Zorti here. 1:10 left on the clock. Zegamis with a clear out and Eclipse getting challenged by the Kestrel side. Zorti dunked down in towards that orange box. Very passive control coming out from the Kestrel side. And Zorti and Sick to Death will try and look for a challenge. Double commit right there. Might open things up. The bump plays, but no follow-up from Zegamis. They had the right idea, but they didn't have all the elements in place. And the Kestrels can return as a result right in front of that net. It will get played out by 2 of the Kestrels players. And now Zortier with a breakaway of his own, taken away by Zadov, I believe that is. Followed up over towards the orange side, the purple side net. Taken away by Zegamis, will be able to defend against it. But 30 seconds left, and you can see the unrelenting pressure coming through. That clear could open up some options. Backboard plays Zorti here, but it's controlled away by the Kestrels. Respawn as Zegamis in. It's Zadov, coming through again, trying to look for a second touch, but he just can't make it happen. 15 seconds left on the clock as Zegamis goes up. Eclipse with control, challenged again by Sick to Death, going through over to the corner. 10 seconds remaining. Nighthawks, they need something now because the Kestrels find the clear. It's counter-attack time. The Kestrels whiffed it in game number 3. Let's see if Nighthawks can find anything in this one. Zorti with a clear out to open space. They won't. It's game 7 between the Kestrels and the Nighthawks. A series that is sure to be delivered, and it will deliver in its finest.
Yep, coming through to game 7. Like we said, the first series going the whole way this season. Absolute ludicrous, and it's what the playoffs are all about. This should be the closest competition, and looking at these two teams, it definitely is. For me right now, Jay, going into this last game, let's redo predictions. Do you think Nighthawks going to be able to do it, or Kestrel's going to make it the 1-2? Are they going to be able to follow through?
I'm concerned about the Kestrels' current form. Again, it's looked very unconfident ever since that crossbar shot. It's just like, it's one of those things where it's like, I want to believe the Kestrels because they just won that last game, but I can't help but feel like a couple of those came down to a couple of mistakes more than anything else from the Nighthawks side. And I don't feel like...
Then a lot of the Nighthawks goals are down to errors in defense from Kestrels, so it comes down to a team that makes less mistakes, essentially.
Pretty much.
Simple as.
That's the thing. Like, that's why it's going to be such a tough one to predict, and I just don't know where to go with this one. I'm going to go with the Nighthawks, I think.
I'll take Kestrels.
You take Kestrels. Only one man can win. Let's find out which team will be the ones to rep us here today. It's Champions Field, appropriate enough, because they will be potential champions if they can hold this one out. Good shot from Eclipse is going to be too high. Fortunately enough defended by the Nighthawks side, but you can see already the control that the Kestrels are trying to take above the Nighthawks team. But Zorti off the backboard will look for control of his own right into Zegamis. It will be pushed out by the Kestrels defensive. Bounce up, Sick to Death, and Zorti looking for control of the midfield. Will look for a strike back. That one's going to go too far wide, and no third player to follow up and receive.
Big demo coming through as well to try and push the lads from the Nighthawks back into their own half. This first goal is going to be massive because it will set the tone for the rest of the game and definitely affect the mental.
It's 45 seconds in, Zorti, no boost, challenging on the second player. Zegamis beaten out here off that ceiling. The ball will get played out by Sick to Death into the midfield line. Zadov here with control, but no boost remaining. Zorti can challenge him so easy. That's a boom shot on towards an open net. The Blue Flare is able to get back in time. Bounce out challenge from the second of the Kestrels defense. Zadov challenged again by Zegamis, moving further forward in this one.
Kestrels are too slow right now here, Jay. Notice with these saves, this defense, they're waiting for the ball to come to them, but at that same time, the Nighthawks are following up on it. Kestrels have to be a little bit snappier if they want to beat out the Nighthawks.
Play out, and Kestrels just trying to insert themselves into the Nighthawks line, in the midfield line in particular. Bounce out towards that net. The follow-up's just not quite there. It's going to be too far wide as it goes to the post. Ends it off now with control. Zegamis challenging, putting it over to the right-hand side. Zorti moving up into the corner. Second touch will not be allowed. Zegamis continuing to pressure, but that clear could look dangerous. Fortunately, Sick to Death is far back enough that he can disrupt that ball's path and continue to pressure into the midfield. Zadov with a shot officially registered to the target, and Kestrels trying to get this pressure set up as a result here. They will get forced to clear over to their own half. 100 boost will get picked up on the way back in the midfield, so Nighthawks will have limited resources to work with. And you can see the clears that are coming from the Kestrels as a result here.
Oh, this has got to be a big time to strike for the Kestrels. Above net, and Zegamis does great to push that off to the side. Kestrels, they got to keep this ball down, not only in the passes, but on the shots as well, Jay.
Kragavon steered out still at the 2.5 minute marker. Same can be said for the Nighthawks side, but again, it's the Kestrels with the majority of the pressure at the moment. Eclipse in, open net, there we go. Zadov credited with the goal, but you can't deny the incredible efforts his teammate made to dribble that past all three of the defenders. Kestrels within a minute, well, 2.5 minutes, excuse me, of winning out this 7th game.
It's only one goal though, Jay. Don't get too ahead of yourself. 2:20, that's tons of time. You can see Zorti definitely feeling it.
Oh my God!
No, kept on out. Could this be the runaway? As that is not going to be able to make it the whole way. Close there. Blue Flare trying it. Damn.
Tragedy again, but Zegamis, what? That should have been off the crossbar. I didn't think that was going in. But the Nighthawks returning tragedy with success, as unfortunately the defensive crumbles for the Kestrels. 1-1 back on the board. The Nighthawks, they're not through with this series.
And he took, what is that? Quit doing the maths in my head. 25 seconds to close it up. Nighthawks are ready for it. They know how important this game is.
Light touches from the Kestrels as well. Might open up a couple more chances to turn this around. Sick to Death. No. Lovely played again. 2-3 players going up for light touches. There was the first. There was the second challenge. The third player couldn't get towards it. That is a lead game by the Nighthawks side. And just as quickly as the Kestrels felt the lead and the victory within their grasp, it's been snatched away by their opponents.
I mean, again, the Kestrels, they've only got themselves to blame. They quickly hopped on the train to whiff City for a few moments. That is kept out wide, but you can see the pressure being put on from Zorti, trying to keep that ball downfield. There is a man in defense, Sick to Death, ready and waiting. Not the most confident touch, but it's not leading to a massive amount.
The Nighthawks, a newfound level of confidence being found here. There's Eclipse up towards this corner. Sick to Death and Zorti, both players challenging. This is a bit of an open chance for the Kestrels, but two players committing on that initial setup will leave Eclipse alone, and he opts to stay in the defense. The Kestrels, they need a breakaway. Two players committing again. Zadov with a bit of boost available, but only goes so far on this one, and 60 seconds remain. Eclipse moving up. The clear will come through from Sick to Death. He's going to carry this all the way through towards the box, but he will not follow through. Neither will any of his teammates here. The ball inside that box again, challenge for the second player, over from Zorti, back in control, but Zegamis with one good 50-50 keeps it out of play here, Bacon.
Does indeed. Coming down to the final 30. Again, Kestrels need to keep this ball low. They're giving way too much time for the Nighthawks to react. Can't get on that one. A couple more whiffs coming through. This has got to be big coming out from Blue Flare, but not able to get a connection.
can see it there. The opportunity is opening up for the Kestrels. Here comes it off. Oh, underneath one, off the crossbar. The bomb's not going to be allowed. And then the follow-up finally coming in a little bit late. The Kestrels leaving all the control, but the Nighthawks couldn't defend against this.
Might be a little bit late, but it's better late than never, Jay. 2-all. 13 seconds left. Are we going to get this decided now, or are we going to have to deal with an overtime?
Sick to death, winning out this kickoff into that orange half, but the Kestrels going to quickly return. Zorti, 28 points of boost, is going to rely on his teammates, potentially get a second flick to the backboard. No one's going to challenge it. His teammate commits too far forward on this one. The ball is up for contention, and Blue Flares going off the backboard, pushed away by the second player, and sick to death. Oh, it's on the floor. Going for the shot, but not going to happen for him today. Overtime for Game 7. The next goal moves to the semi-finals, and the Kestrels already here for the offensive. They've whiffed it again. No chance to take the mistake, and the Kestrels will be able to rotate out of their position. Zegamis up here for the second touch, bouncing it off. 2 players committed, and no backup for the Nighthawks side.
No backup at all. Scary times right now, especially this is in front of the Kestrels net. They do get it away downfield. Nighthawks looking a little bit questionable, but there comes the clearance from Sick to Death and a nice little team passing play upfield.
Pass out, Zorti can get himself set up here. Second player's nowhere to be seen. However, Zadov, great shot, but Sick to Death able to rotate out in time. The Nighthawks seeming to having control of every single piece of this field right now. As they try and get the pressure set up, Zorti going to get beaten to the ball. Zegamis has got to get this touch away, since that was a shot registered by Zadov. Follow through again, 2 players baited, but the third man does come in. Passing up could be looking legit, and Sick to Death has his own control into that corner. Double commit from Zegamis, does find it out of the way, and Eclipse tries to block it off, leaving it open for contention. Off the backboard, second player, third player to redirect, take it too far wide in this case, and the Nighthawks getting gifted a little bit of lucky chances, but this one's point blank. Underneath, follow-up's going to be past the last player. The third man will come forward, but this is enough room for Zorti to breathe, and Zegamis will try and find the clears.
Infield pass as well. Can they chase onto this? They are taking it to the corner now, the Kestrels. They've got to be careful with that. Above net, crossbar down, and it is going to be Eclipse securing the Kestrels into the next round. They move onto the semi-finals.
The perfect bait play as the Nighthawks scattered away from the net, and they find themselves out of the running here in the quarter-finals. A massive, massive golden goal coming through from the Kestrels. And heart-stopping stuff as well in that Game 7. Like, it really did come down to the wire in that one, Bacon.
Yeah, what a story. You got to think as well from the Kestrels, winning those first 2 games, then almost, I want to say, dropping the ball, just completely got flatlining in the series, being able to bring themselves back to life after Nighthawks really started to put up some staunch competition.
I genuinely believe the Nighthawks would have that one. It came down to just, again, a scattered defensive that was forced out of their own nets, and into that corner is where they held the control for the Kestrels side. That pass up, that play, beautiful. Absolutely loved it there from the Kestrel side, and again, that does mean that they are going to go 4-3 up against the Norfolk Nighthawks, and again, they're moving into the semi-finals, not quite alongside the Colchester Centurions from earlier today. They'll actually be on the other side of the bracket, so we get to see actually who their opponents will be in a short couple of moments' time. The brackets are almost ready for us to go, but we'll have to wait for a couple of seconds before those just get updated. It's all sorts of little like computers and hamsters turning around the wheels, so just got to make sure that none of them are sick. If any of them are sick, we can't get the graphics ready for you in time, Bacon.
I don't know, the other hamsters can work definitely hard enough for them, but we're definitely asking a lot there. Going through the other matches though today, I'm just intrigued to see how they all matched up. Naturally, we expect both the Clyde Claymores and the MK Enigmas to pass on through to the next round, but I wonder if there's been any upsets in the wings.
I don't know. I feel like if there's any upsets, it probably would be in the camp of the Clyde Claymores, I think. Just because the MK Enigmas, in my opinion, they're just the strongest side, to be honest. So like, if they lost out, then oh dear. But we'll have to see if those shockers do come up to come up today, because we're ready to reveal who the semi-finals teams are. Let's have a look who is playing in next week's Part 2 playoff matches. Enigmas and Claymores.
Who would have thought? But
shock of the century.
the
Bacon.
shocker there, though, you thought the Claymores would find the hassle. 4-0 for the Claymores over the Steelers, but Enigmas 4-1 over Vikings. Vikings, unfortunate. I like this side, but they did get the naff end of the stick. Facing up against the Enigmas first there in round 1, it just shows how important that league play is. Because they came out 4th seed and they had to pay the price. So, next week, Jay, Enigmas versus Centurions and Kestrels going up against Claymores. For me, after today's performance, Kestrels really got to pick it up. They can't have those nerves against the Claymores like they did today against the Nighthawks.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to agree with you. I mean, I feel like the Vikings' victory in the Enigmas part of things may have just been a single goal, like a single game. You know, the one game, the one game. I don't want to say throwaway, but the one game buffer just sort of to get yourself warmed up in a part of the Enigmas. So, you know, we'll have to see whether or not that was actually the case. But certainly, we have seen the best of the quarterfinals, as we have obviously seen the Centurions beat out the Kingston Harriers, and of course the Kestrels just beating out the Norfolk Nighthawks there, and you again can see those semi-final the semi-finals matches next week at the same time at the same place on twitch.tv/Belong Arenas on Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. GMT. For tomorrow, though, the Overwatch clash is going to take place, and I believe also the quarterfinal phase over.
Yep.
I think we're all sort of like following the same sort
Everyone's
of...
on the same timeline.
Okay.
That's good.
That's just me being a non-educated individual. I don't really
You
know
didn't
what's
look
going
it
on.
up. That's it.
I didn't look it up. No. See, I
only care about Rocket
I
League, that's
don't
it.
have my phone in front of me throughout the entire thing. It's actually off to the side. But you know, the bottom line is still the fact that Overwatch is tomorrow again, the same time at the same place, Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. GMT. But again, if you want to watch more Rocket League, that's next week, where we find the two teams that will be making their way to Bristol for the finals. Plenty of action to come your way. 2 more best of 7s to see. So join us next week for even more of the Rocket League Arena Clash action. Until then, though, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon.